Well, good morning and welcome back to the shop. It's been a while since I put a video out, but that's because life gets in the way, unfortunately, and there's a bunch of things always going on. But what am I doing today? Well, I want to do two things. Number one is I'd like to get the stereo set up, and as you know, I bought that oscilloscope. It's a digital oscilloscope. It was like $49. And the way you use it is that you use your phone and you can download an application that will then generate a test tone. You then run that test tone through your stereo, and then you use the oscilloscope on the outputs of the amplifier and turn the sucker up as loud as it goes until you see the sine wave start to clip, which means flattening out on the ends. And I'll get into that a lot. But one of the other things I'd like to talk to you about, and it's something I wasn't thinking of doing, but I did anyways, what the heck, is I bought a windshield repair kit. Now, this is a picture of it here. And as I said, inexpensive. I think it was like $39 or $49 on Amazon. But wow, does this thing work? And it comes with two different pads of abrasive. One's more aggressive, and then the other one is less aggressive, obviously. And it's very similar to clear coat, right? You're going to be using your 1500, you're going to be using your 2000, and then you're going to move into your polishes. Well, exactly the same thing with the windshield. It comes with two different abrasives that allow you to knock the glass down in order to flatten out any scratches in it. And then, of course, you come back with the less aggressive sandpaper to take care of those scratches, and then you come back with a polish. So, just want to show you how easy it is to use this thing. Okay, so what does the kit come with? Of course, the kit comes with an attachment for your drill, and this is literally just a Velcro pad that you can then attach the different surfaces to. The two surfaces that I've already used on the glass is a green pad, and that green pad they call a 120. Again, you can't think of sandpaper. The 120 is actually more aggressive than the blue pad, which is a 60, so it's backwards. But basically, you start with the green pad, and that green pad literally shaves the glass off. I mean, it just came off like powder. You could just see it coming off of the glass. Then once you get rid of most of the issue that you needed to get rid of, you come back with the blue, which is a less aggressive paper, and that then gets rid of any of the marks that the green pad left behind. So then that cleaned up the area very well. Once you've done that, then you're supposed to come back with the felt pad, and then you're actually using the glass polishing compound. Now, in this case, less is more. The way it works is you put about a half a teaspoon on this pad, you apply it to the car, and then you literally just run it half overlapping, and you just polish it that way. Very similar, as I said, to what you would do with clear coat. They also given you in the kit a little spritz bottle, and this really atomizes. It is very fine. You can see that, very fine. Because what they want you to do is you apply the compound, you start working the area that you want to use it on, and then when it gets too dry, all you want to do is you can reanimate it by just a little spritz, not much, and then it reanimates the paste, and then you just keep using it. So in all honesty, this bottle, although you look at it and say, well, that's not very much, this will do multiple windshields easily, because again, half a teaspoon, and that half a teaspoon allowed me to do an area about that size and just go over it back and forth, back and forth. When it dries out, again, a little spritz, reanimate it back and forth, back and forth. And this area here now, when I look at that from a glancing light, that looks like a brand new windshield in this area. So I'm going to do this entire side now with the polish and bring this whole area, including now in here, where I had to do some major repairs, and bring this whole side of this glass into a mirror finish. So I'll just show you how I'm doing this. Again, I'm not going to spend all day on it, because once you see how it works, it's very simple. I'll show you how I'm doing this, and then we can move on to the stereo. Now forgive me, because it's going to be difficult not to get in the way of this, but just to show you how it's done. Again, on the pad, half a teaspoon, literally just a dab like that. Then what I do is I'm going to take it, place it against the glass, I'm going to move it around again, just like you would do clear coat, and then we turn on the drill and overlapping patterns. Now you notice I'm trying to keep the pad as flat to the surface as possible, just like I had explained when I was doing the clear coat polishing. You're using the buffer, you want that buffer flat on the panel. You don't want an edge on the back of the front because again, you'll then put a swirl mark in, right? So we're trying to keep it flat. Now also what happened is it's starting to obviously dry up because it does generate heat, and you want to use the back of your hand once in a while. Make sure you're not putting too much heat into the glass. And then what you can do is you can simply either spritz the pad or you can spritz the surface. That'll reanimate the pad. And that's all we're going to do is we're going to repeat that in this area. I use my cloth now because it is dry. It is like a powder to clean off. We cleaned it off, and again, you're not going to be able to see how beautiful that is again with the camera, but I can see with the raking light now that we have, I mean, that is gorgeously a beautiful piece of glass. I don't even see any remnants, excuse my head, I don't see any remnants of even the windshield wipers. You know how when they come back and forth, you always get those lines in there? Those are gone. Very slight crazing, like very slight marks on the windshield, but remember, this is an old windshield, not original, but it's still an old windshield. We're going to bring this back to life. I'm going to keep using this. I've already done up here. I mean, I just did here, and I'm just going to move that back and forth. So as you can see, this little bit of paste in here is going to have no problem doing this entire windshield because that little bit just did that area, which is about that size. We'll go here, 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 and here. Move over to the other side. So how about I just rejoin when I'm done the entire glass and then we can start taking a look at it. Okay, quick intermission. So I've done from the center of the glass all the way over to the edge. This section in here, I didn't use any of the abrasives. And the idea is I used the green in order to get rid of a lot of the marks that were in the glass on this side. And of course, then I followed up with the blue. Basically though, both of those pads leave a very dull glass, just like you would with clear coat. In my case now, this section from here to about here probably spent about 15 minutes, right? Nice and slow, moving the pad back and forth against the glass. From this section over, where I actually did use the abrasive pads, this section alone probably 30 minutes. And that is just nice and slow, going back over and over. Remember, this is not a race. But I've probably about 98%. Now that I stand here and I can see the raking light coming off of my camera, I can just see some dullness in this area here that I can address now. But like I said, as I mentioned, this is what's going to take the time, is where you use these, the aggressive pads, you're going to spend a lot more time with the felt pad on. And again, that just makes sense. So as I mentioned, I'm just going to get back to here, probably spend another 5 minutes getting rid of all of the last remnants of any scratches or any marks on the glass, and then we can do the other side. Okay, so I'm done polishing, and I'll be very honest with you. I would highly recommend these kits. If you've got a piece of glass that is maybe original or near original, and you want to keep it, but it's got some blemishes on it, I highly recommend that you can use that kit in order to grind out or sand out the issues, and then of course polish it back up, because like I said, it did a great job. Now, is it going to do anything with cracks and bullseyes? No. I mean, that glass, you have to replace it. But in my case, the glass had no cracks and I've got no bullseyes. So really, all I needed to do was get rid of some of the windshield wiper marks, because the blades leave marks on the glass, and also just wear and tear. I mean, the glass is going to get sandblasted and all of the things that happen while you're driving a car. About 80% of that has been erased. I mean, the glass looks fantastic. I have no problem with this. Again, highly recommended. You know, so let's say $45 for the repair, 4 or 5 hours worth of effort, and I've saved hundreds. Because up here in Canada, to get a replacement glass with the shipping and the cost of the glass and the cost of the exchange, I'm probably looking at $500, $600 Canadian to replace this glass. I was able to do it for $45. So again, best investment ever. Looks fantastic. I'm really happy with it. All that's left is I'm going to put Rain-X on it, seal it up, and that way there are two things with Rain-X. It seals the glass, takes care of any little bitty pick marks that are there. It kind of blends them out. And then I don't have to use the wipers as much. because you certainly don't want to use the wipers that often or you're going to get your marks back in the glass. So let's get the Rain-X on this thing. Let's get the wiper arms back on. Let's get the wiper blades back on. Let's put a little bit of washer fluid in the reservoir, and maybe we'll even test the system. As you know, this car has a wiper switch on the floor, which is an intermittent wiper. I can press that, release it, and they'll just cycle once, park themselves. If I press it longer and a little deeper, the micro switch is connected, which fires up an electric washer pump as opposed to the diaphragm pump in the old car. So I've got that to test as well. So let's do that on a fresh piece of glass. So let's go do that, and then we'll go to the stereo. Okay, that's it. The wiper arms are in, the wiper blades are on. I've spritzed my windshield with a little bit of glass cleaner so that the blades would not be dry. I'm now going to depress the foot pedal in the Mustang once and release it. And as you can see now, I have intermittent and or I guess mist wipers. That means I can simply press the button with my foot and I can activate the wipers whenever I just need to get a little bit of a misting done. I can also obviously turn the wipers on themselves. There's the power switch. I can turn them on. So that's another way. And of course, they park themselves. Finally, though, what I can do is I can press the pedal for the foot control. But if I press it further, I connect that micro switch, which then engages the power washer pump. Now, as you can see, that almost shoots over the car, but that's on purpose. And the reason it's on purpose is because when you're driving at 60 miles an hour, the wind is going to push those squirters down. So they're probably going to hit somewhere in the middle of the windshield when I'm moving forward. Obviously, when I'm sitting still, they hit really high up here. But again, that's on purpose. So I know I mentioned that I was going to do the stereo today, but I realized I've got about 12, 13 minutes of footage here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to release this tonight, and tomorrow I'm going to come in and we will jump all over the stereo as far as setting it up. So I really hope you enjoyed that video. If you're like myself and you didn't want to send 80 pounds of windshield into the dump, you can fix these things. And I tell you, it really does a great job. Optically, it is still clear. I've got no issues there. So like I said, I saved myself hundreds of dollars. So like I said, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. I'll see you tomorrow with the stereo.